Listen closely. Today marks one of the most transformative astrological events of the year as Saturn, the cosmic taskmaster and architect of time, completes its retrograde journey out of Aries and settles back into the mystical waters of Pisces. This isn't just another planetary movement. This is a complete energetic reset that will fundamentally alter how you approach your goals, dreams, and life structure for the remainder of this cosmic cycle. Since late May, when Saturn first entered the fiery realm of Aries, you've been living under intense pressure to initiate, to build, to manifest your visions into concrete reality. The universe has been pushing you forward with an almost relentless urgency, demanding that you take action on projects that had been dormant, relationships that needed definition, and personal transformations that could no longer be postponed. If you felt like you've been running a marathon for the past 3 months, constantly pushing against resistance and fighting to establish new structures in your life, you're not imagining it. That was Saturn in Aries doing exactly what it was designed to do. But today, everything changes. As Saturn retreats into Pisces for what will be its final visit to this sign for the next 28 years, the cosmic energy shifts from the warrior's battlefield to the sage's meditation chamber. Where there was once crystal clear direction and an almost militant focus on forward momentum, you may suddenly find yourself experiencing confusion, fatigue, or even a profound sense of questioning everything you've been building. This dramatic shift is not a cosmic mistake, nor is it a sign that you've somehow failed or lost your way. This is Saturn's most sophisticated teaching method in action. Think of it as the universe's quality control department, stepping in to conduct a thorough inspection of everything you've constructed during these intense months of Aries energy. Just as a master architect never allows a building to continue rising without first ensuring that every foundation beam can support the weight of what's to come, Saturn is now requiring you to pause, breathe, and examine the true stability of your recent creations. The energy of Saturn in Aries was pure initiation. It was the cosmic equivalent of a starting gun, firing you into action with such force that hesitation became impossible. Under this influence, many of you have made life-changing decisions with startling clarity, launched projects that had been mere ideas for years, and finally found the courage to step into versions of yourselves that previously felt unreachable. The key word was momentum, and that momentum carried you through obstacles that might have stopped you cold in any other cosmic climate. However, this kind of intense forward motion comes with a price. The adrenaline of constant initiation doesn't allow for the subtle work of emotional integration, spiritual alignment, or the deep inner knowing that distinguishes a sustainable path from a beautiful but ultimately unsustainable fantasy. Aries energy is magnificent for breaking through barriers, but it's not particularly concerned with whether what lies beyond those barriers truly serves your soul's deepest purpose. Now, as Saturn settles into the intuitive depths of Pisces, a completely different kind of work begins. This is no longer about charging forward, it's about diving inward. Pisces energy operates in the realm of feeling, intuition, dreams, and spiritual truth. When Saturn, the planet of structure and reality, moves through this deeply emotional and psychic sign, it creates a unique alchemical process. It forces you to examine not just what you've built, but why you built it, and whether the motivations behind your actions were rooted in authentic soul calling or merely the ego's desire to prove itself. This process often begins with what many people experience as a sudden and sometimes alarming loss of momentum. Projects that felt urgent and vital just weeks ago may now seem heavy or unclear. Goals that drove you with passionate intensity might suddenly feel distant or even irrelevant. The sharp focus that characterized your recent months may give way to a kind of cosmic brain fog, that leaves you questioning your direction entirely. Before you continue watching, I want to hear about your personal experience with this powerful transit. In the comments below, share your zodiac sign and tell me how you've been feeling this shift from Saturn in Aries to Saturn in Pisces. Have you noticed a sudden change in your energy levels, motivation, or clarity about your goals? Are projects that felt crystal clear a few weeks ago now feeling confusing or overwhelming? Your personal experience with these cosmic energies helps our entire community understand how these planetary movements show up in real life. So please take a moment to share what's happening in your world right now. Understanding that this energetic shift is not a setback, but rather a sophisticated form of cosmic protection is crucial for navigating the coming months successfully. Saturn's return to Pisces is essentially the universe installing a safety mechanism, ensuring that the structures you're building in your life have the depth, authenticity, and spiritual alignment necessary to withstand not just the test of time, but the inevitable challenges and storms that all meaningful endeavors must eventually face. During the Aries phase, you were operating primarily from your solar plexus, the energy center associated with personal will, determination, and the drive to manifest in the physical world. This created incredible momentum and breakthrough energy, but it also meant that many decisions were made from a place of mental determination rather than deep knowing. Now, as Saturn moves into Pisces, your center of operation shifts to your heart and your intuitive centers. This is where you access not just what you want to create, but what wants to be created through you. This shift often manifests first through your physical body and emotional state. Many people report feeling suddenly exhausted during this transition, not the kind of tiredness that comes from physical exertion, but a deeper soul fatigue that seems to arise from nowhere. This is actually your system naturally slowing down to allow for the integration of everything you've experienced and accomplished during the high-intensity Aries period. Your body wisdom is essentially saying, we need to stop pushing and start processing. Along with this fatigue comes what might feel like an uncomfortable clarity about commitments and promises you made during the Aries phase. Deadlines that seemed perfectly reasonable when you set them may now feel overwhelming or unrealistic. Daily routines that you established with great enthusiasm might suddenly feel draining rather than energizing. Projects that demanded all your attention may now seem to be competing with a deep need for quiet, reflection, and spiritual nourishment. If you're experiencing this kind of reassessment, know that you're not losing your edge or becoming lazy. You're actually developing a more sophisticated understanding of what sustainable success really looks like. The Aries energy taught you how to begin, but the Pisces energy is teaching you how to continue in a way that honors both your ambitions and your humanity. This is where Saturn's role as the cosmic teacher becomes most apparent. Saturn doesn't just want you to achieve your goals. It wants you to achieve them in a way that creates lasting fulfillment rather than temporary satisfaction followed by burnout. The planet of discipline and structure understands that any creation not rooted in authentic truth and sustainable practices will eventually collapse under its own weight. The central question that Saturn in Pisces poses to each of us is profoundly simple, yet potentially life-changing. Was what you built based on solid truth or just the heat of the moment? This isn't a question you can answer with your logical mind alone. Pisces energy requires you to feel your way to the truth, to use your intuition and emotional wisdom as guides. A structure built on solid truth in the Pisces sense means that your motivation came from a genuine soul calling rather than external pressure or the need to prove something. It means that the sacrifices you made felt aligned with a larger purpose rather than forced or resentful. It means that even in the midst of intense action, You maintained some connection to your inner guidance system and didn't completely override your need for rest, reflection, and spiritual nourishment. A structure built in the heat of the moment, by contrast, is one that emerged primarily from impatience, competition, or the fear of missing out. It's when you started something to impress others, to escape uncomfortable feelings, or because you thought you should rather than because it genuinely resonated with your deepest values and desires. These kinds of motivations create what Saturn considers unstable foundations. And during this Pisces transit, anything built on such shaky ground will begin to show cracks. This doesn't mean that everything you started during the Aries phase was wrong or misguided. Many of your initiatives likely came from a beautiful combination of authentic inspiration and healthy ambition. But Saturn in Pisces is asking you to distinguish between the parts of your recent creations that serve your soul's true purpose and the parts that were driven by less sustainable motivations. This process of discernment is perhaps the most valuable skill you can develop during this transit. Saturn in Pisces acts like a cosmic filter, slowly dissolving everything that lacks genuine substance, while allowing the truly meaningful elements of your vision to become clearer and more defined. It's what astrologers sometimes call disillusionment, but this word carries unnecessarily negative connotations. Think of it instead as the evaporation of fantasy, leaving behind only what is real and workable. During the Aries phase, it was easy to fall in love with the idea of a project, the image of a new lifestyle, or the concept of a transformed version of yourself. The energy was one of projection and idealization. Now, Saturn in Pisces is asking you to look beyond the inspiring images and face the practical reality of what sustainable manifestation actually requires. That dream business may reveal itself to need not just passion, but also detailed financial planning, marketing strategy, and the kind of daily discipline that continues even when inspiration is low. That ideal relationship may prove to require difficult conversations, clear boundaries, and the willingness to show up consistently even when the initial excitement fades. That creative vision may demand a realistic timeline, budget, and the humility to learn skills you don't currently possess. Saturn doesn't reveal these realities to discourage you or diminish the magic of your dreams. On the contrary, it reveals them so that your dreams have a genuine chance of surviving and thriving in the real world. A fantasy, however beautiful, remains forever in the realm of someday maybe. But a dream that has been tested and refined by Saturn's realistic scrutiny becomes something far more precious, a vision with the structural integrity to become a lasting reality. This is why the work you're doing now, during this period of review and adjustment, is so crucial. You're not just pausing to rest, though rest is certainly part of the process. You're engaging in the sophisticated work of separating the wheat from the chaff in your own aspirations. You're learning to distinguish between what energizes you and what drains you, between what aligns with your authentic values and what you thought you should want, between what you can realistically sustain and what was driven by unsustainable adrenaline. The practical work of this phase often involves what might feel like disappointing adjustments. You may need to extend deadlines, reduce the scope of certain projects, or even step back from commitments that no longer feel aligned. You might find yourself having conversations with others about changing expectations or renegotiating agreements that were made during the more optimistic and energetic Aries phase. These adjustments are not failures. They are acts of integrity and wisdom. They demonstrate that you're learning to honor both your ambitions and your humanity, both your dreams and your realistic limitations. This is what true maturity looks like in the Saturnian sense, not the abandonment of dreams, but the development of the practical wisdom necessary to manifest them sustainably. Think of yourself during this phase as a master gardener who is pruning a beloved plant. The gardener doesn't cut away branches because he wants to harm the plant, but because he understands that removing what is dead, diseased, or growing in the wrong direction allows the plant's life force to concentrate on what is healthy and has the potential to bear fruit. This is exactly what Saturn in Pisces is asking you to do with your recent projects and commitments. The branches you cut away during this process are not wasted. They become compost, enriching the soil from which your more sustainable creations will grow. Every no you say to an unsustainable commitment creates space and energy for a more aligned yes. Every fantasy you release makes room for a more workable dream. Every unrealistic timeline you adjust becomes a more honest relationship with your own creative process. This work of discernment and adjustment is preparing you for something magnificent. In February 2026, Saturn will re-enter Aries and the cosmic race will resume. But this time, you won't be running blind. You'll be running with the wisdom gained from this profound period of review and refinement. The action energy of Aries will still be there, but now it will be guided by the emotional intelligence and spiritual alignment you're developing during this Pisces phase. What emerges from this combination of Aries momentum and Pisces wisdom will have an entirely different quality than what you created during the first Saturn in Aries phase. It will be action rooted in authentic knowing rather than just determination. It will be manifestation guided by soul purpose rather than just personal will. It will be creation that serves not just your ego's desire for achievement, but your spirit's longing for meaningful contribution. The structures you solidify now, during this seemingly quiet phase, are the ones that will not only survive the next period of intense action, but will become truly prosperous when Saturn eventually moves into Taurus and focuses on building lasting material security and abundance. You're not just taking a break, you're laying the groundwork for the most sustainable and fulfilling chapter of your creative life. This is why it's so important to resist the temptation to push through the current energy and try to maintain the pace that characterized the past few months. The universe is offering you a gift that won't come again for nearly 3 decades. The chance to align your ambitions with your deepest truth before moving forward. This kind of alignment is what distinguishes people who achieve temporary success from those who create lasting legacies. The fatigue you may be feeling, the confusion about direction, the need to reassess and adjust, these are not signs that something has gone wrong. They are signs that something is going very right. They indicate that you're sensitive enough to feel the cosmic shift and wise enough to honor what it's asking of you. You're learning to work with universal rhythms rather than against them, and this skill will serve you for the rest of your life. As you navigate the coming weeks and months, remember that the pause is not permanent. This is not about giving up on your dreams or settling for less than what you truly want. This is about ensuring that what you build next has the depth, authenticity, and structural integrity to withstand whatever challenges may come. It's about developing the kind of mature relationship with your own creative power that allows for both inspired action and necessary rest, both ambitious vision and realistic planning. The new maturity that Saturn in Pisces offers is not about becoming cautious or losing your edge. It's about integrating wisdom with passion, intuition with action, spiritual alignment with practical manifestation. It's about learning to play what chess masters call the long game, making moves that may not provide immediate gratification, but that position you for ultimate victory. Every moment you spend in honest reflection during this phase, every adjustment you make to align your actions with your authentic values, every fantasy you release to make room for workable dreams, these are investments in your future self. They are acts of profound respect for your own energy and for the precious opportunity you have to create something meaningful with your life. The cosmic curriculum never stops, but it does offer these rare periods of integration where you can step back from the intensity of constant forward motion and really absorb the lessons you've learned. You felt the power of Saturn in Aries, the incredible momentum that comes from aligned action and clear intention. Now you're learning the equally important power of Saturn in Pisces, the deep wisdom that comes from honest self-reflection and spiritual alignment. When these two energies eventually combine in your consciousness, when you can access both the warrior's courage and the mystic's wisdom, you become unstoppable in the truest sense. Not because nothing can slow you down, but because you know when to push forward and when to pause, when to act and when to reflect, when to build and when to adjust course. This is the mastery that Saturn ultimately wants to teach you. Not just how to achieve your goals, but how to achieve them in a way that honors both your human ambitions and your spiritual truth. Not just how to manifest your desires, but how to manifest desires that truly serve your soul's purpose. Not just how to build structures in your life, but how to build structures that can become foundations for others who will follow in your footsteps. The work you're doing now during this profound cosmic pause is sacred work. It's the kind of deep internal restructuring that creates the possibility for external manifestations that are not just successful, but truly fulfilling. It's the difference between achieving something and achieving something that matters, between creating something impressive and creating something that makes a lasting contribution to the world. As Saturn continues its journey through Pisces over the coming months, trust the process. Trust the pauses, the reassessments, the need for adjustment. Trust that the universe has not forgotten about your dreams, but is instead helping you refine them into their most powerful and sustainable form. Trust that this apparent slowdown is actually the most sophisticated form of preparation for the magnificent acceleration that lies ahead. The cosmic story of your life is far from over. In fact, you're just completing the first chapter of what promises to be an extraordinary tale of conscious creation and authentic achievement. The foundation you're building now, during this quiet but crucial phase, will determine not just what you accomplish, but how deeply that accomplishment satisfies your soul and serves the greater good. This is your time to become not just a successful person, but a wise one. Not just someone who can make things happen, but someone who makes the right things happen for the right reasons. The universe is investing in your development as a conscious creator, and every moment you spend honoring this process is a moment spent building the kind of life that truly matters.